All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. Time now for City Matters. If it matters to you, it matters to the city. I'm just saying. How you doing, Mike Bailey?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Tom?
Well, it looks like you brought the whole hee-haw gang today.
I did. It's actually going to be a very special one. We not only have the whole gang, but we have Lisa Beeman in her, I guess this is your final. There's got to be a fancier word for it, but this is her final radio spot. She's officially retired November 1st.
Yep.
And that's
Lisa, I thought there were rules about retiring at 38.
Thank you, Tom.
if we can all pull it off. So
Yeah.
anyway, we'll get around to visiting with Miss Beeman. She's got lots to say, in spite of the fact that she claims she doesn't. Has anybody ever known Lisa Beeman not to have lots to say?
Oh.
No.
Lots of stories she can tell now that she's leaving.
It's true. I'm the one that's a little bit nervous here. I'm not sure. She's kind of untethered right now. In fact, she's told me fire her several times. I'm not going to do it. So, but all right. Well, Tom, we've actually got a pretty major event coming up. I know that everybody is aware of the midterm elections.
Somewhat.
The midterms. I know we've spent a little bit of time on this. I'm sure, haven't you?
A little bit.
A little bit. So, what I would ask everybody is, because the city of Bartlesville, our council elections run with our general elections. So I would ask everybody to make sure that you don't forget your city council. In fact, I believe that you all are going to host a forum. I don't know that the date is set yet.
I believe it's Monday.
Monday, so it's November
The 1th.
the 1st. That's right.
No,
So
Monday's the 31st.
Okay.
It's Halloween.
Okay, it might have been Tuesday the 1th.
well,
Okay.
look, keep it tuned here for more information, right?
Oh, like I know anything.
But
I was just told to take a bath and show up someplace. You know?
we appreciate you all doing that, because it does help draw attention to the city council. And at times I've had people tell me, oh man, I showed up to vote and there was a city council election. What was that about? So, well, that happens every couple of years. So
Yeah.
I'd just like to remind everybody and ask everybody to take your time, become educated about your candidates. There's actually several races. The candidate forum is a great opportunity to learn more about them. But there are actually races in 3 wards, and since Bartlesville has only 5 wards, there's a good chance that your ward has a council race in it. So just quick rundown. Ward 2, this was Paul Stewart's ward. There are two challengers to replace him. This is Lauren Roselle and Chelsea Wagner in Ward 2. Ward 3, this Vice Mayor Curd is the incumbent. He is going to run again, and he's running against challenger Brandon Wade. And then Ward 4, Billy Roan is the incumbent, and she is running against challenger Mr. John Maples. So hopefully everybody will tune into your forum and will do their best to become educated about their council members. If you're curious about the wards, there's a really good map on cityofbartlesville.org, but just to kind of give you an idea, the 3 wards that have races are really kind of the southeast edge of town, the southwest edge of town, and then sort of the northwest. So it's kind of in quadrants. Ward 1 is in the middle of town, sort of east of 75 in the middle, and then Ward 5 is to the northeast. And those are the only 2 that don't have races. So everywhere else from, I would say, Covington to Circle Mountain to Oak Park, you got races. So make sure and pay attention and look for that. As far as dates, if anybody's curious, it is a little bit different, and this is the reason I'm sure that you all are having it on the 1st, is because early voting starts on November 2nd. And that is a Wednesday, November 2nd, and it will run through Saturday, November 5th. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you'll be able to do in-person early absentee from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That will be on the 4th floor of City Hall. This is not a city function, but we lease space to the election board, so that's where they actually conduct the in-person absentee. And then on Saturday, they will also be in the same place from 8 to 2. So lots of opportunities for early voting, and then, of course, if you don't choose to early vote, then Tuesday, November 8th, will be at your regular polling place, and that's from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So encourage everyone, of course, to go out and vote, and hopefully vote in an informed manner on all of the issues.
And only once, please.
What's that?
And only once, please.
Yes, yes, only once.
I'm sorry, I'm from Illinois. You got to remind people.
Got to remind people, no, don't, not early and often. Yeah. Early's fine.
Early's fine. Often,
often is.
You got a problem.
I have faith in the integrity of our voters and in the processes of our election board.
So do I. I wish the nation would.
You wish
adopt
that
what
was
we
true in
got.
other places. Huh?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. So, and right now, in sort of a more mundane business, we're getting ready to issue a request for proposals and a request for qualifications for two very different sorts of things, but both very important. The first one is we're going to issue a request for proposals for price fields. And so for the last several years, this has sort of been a hybrid that we've run with YMCA in the city and then the league. This year, we're looking to do something a little bit different. So we are asking anybody who might have an interest in managing price fields to take a look at this request for proposals. There will be more details on this. It'll actually come out in City Beat tomorrow with a copy of the request for proposals. So please be looking for that. If you have any interest in being part of the management of price fields, take a look in there and let us know what you think. We also have a request for proposals, request for proposals on the First Christian Church building. And of course, we've talked about this for a long time. It doesn't belong to the city at this point in time, but we do have the option to accept it as a donation. And so we're trying to get a feel, is there a productive use that building can be converted to? If so, the city would be willing to help convert it to that purpose, but that's what this request for proposals is. Again, more details starting in City Beat tomorrow, and both of those, that RFP and RFQ, will be released to the public at those times. So we hope that anybody who has an interest in either of those facilities, in management or operations or lease of them, that they'll take a look at this and get back with the city. So, but we'll have all of that laid out tomorrow, and I know Keith is keenly interested in at least, well, actually both of those, aren't you?
Actually, yes. I'm excited for both of them to promote all people to get out there and take advantage of this and join in. Yeah, you bet.
Look it's a great opportunity, we think.
You bet.
So, but we'll see how that all shakes out here over the next little while. And Keith, we've got a couple of events coming up. You've got a leaf and grass collection. I think we've set the date on. I don't know if you have that handy.
I do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we just got that set, and it'll be coming out, of course, on our media apps, and it's going to be December the 5th through the 9th. So this coming December, the week of December the 5th, you can put your leaf and grass out for collection. It's our annual program that we run. Typically, we do one in the spring and one in the fall. So if you want to bag your grass and your leaves and put those out there where you normally put your poly carts for regular refuge collection on the same day, there will be a truck come by, probably a separate truck will come by and collect those materials for you. So get out and take advantage of that. Again, it's on December the 5th when it starts, and it'll be on your normal collection day. So get out and take advantage of that. Might also mention the holiday schedule is coming up. We're not long. Thanksgiving just around the corner. Christmas just around the corner. So keep in mind, if your trash day falls on one of our holidays, it will be collected on the Wednesday of that week. So keep that in mind. Obviously Thursday of Thanksgiving always, so it'll be on the Wednesday before that. We'll actually be absolutely, and then we will be working on that Friday for trash collection. The rest of the city, I think, typically will be closed, but the trash service will be working that day. And then Christmas will be the same. If it falls during your trash day, it'd be on the Wednesday prior to that. So keep that in mind. Might mention, too, that the Johnstone Park closed this weekend for the guys to start setting up the Fantasyland lights. So if you're used to going down to the park and walking or playing on the playground, keep in mind that is closed now until after the first of the year when the Fantasyland will get back in there and pick up their stuff and leave. But excited for them to be again this year, put their lights up. It's a big attraction for town. So they're working on that and got that going on.
It's an awesome community event.
Another thing we might talk about that's been kind of a hot topic, of course, is recycling, as always. And Replenish that runs our recycling program here in town over at 10th and Virginia, where we used to have our old drop-off site. We're still there, but Replenish operates that site for us now. And they've got an event coming up this Wednesday. They're actually going to buy some recyclables. So if you're a recycler and you like to take advantage of this, they're going to actually pay you for aluminum and plastic. So if you've got aluminum cans, take those over there. And also it's the PET #1 plastic. So typically that's your water bottles, pop bottles, water bottles. And if you're not sure about it, because it does get kind of confusing sometimes, what's what, all those containers are marked. So on the plastics, it should be a little triangle on there somewhere, and it'll say PET1 on it. So if you're not sure what it is, but again, it's primarily water bottles. and they're going to buy those materials from noon to 3 o'clock. So if you're familiar with our site, if you go over there, Replenish will have some representatives there. They have a little table set up. They're going to actually weigh your goods. They want you to keep them separate, so keep the aluminum cans all in one container, plastics in another. They'll actually weigh those, and the aluminum cans, they're going to pay you 50 cents a pound for those. And the PET plastic, they're going to pay you 10 cents a pound. So they've got a large demand for those commodities right now, so they're encouraging people to recycle those things and take advantage of this program that they've got going on this week. So again, this Wednesday from noon to 3 o'clock, they'll be there.
Boy, I tell you, if I was still in college, I'd be a rich man.
Well, and that's what I was thinking about. This kind of the way it used to be is that there was enough demand for recycled materials that they had a value that you could even obtain some, and so that's one of the best experiences we've had with Replenish is that they've ensured that they have found a demand for all of our products. So they act as the middleman to make sure that they get to a market, and so that there's some value. And our partnership with them, Keith, it probably saves the citizens of Bartlesville about $100,000 a year, just by having them operate it. So
it does. It's been a good partnership. We're happy to have them operating that for us over there. They provide a well-needed service for the citizens of Bartlesville, and there's a lot of them that take advantage of it.
Yep.
Little cash for your trash.
A little cash for your trash. That's right. It's the cash for your trash weekend.
Good.
Not very often.
No.
One man's trash is another man's treasure, something
Could
like
be
that.
yours, yeah.
Could be yours. So, all right, Keith, I appreciate that. So we have a very special event here. We have mentioned this several times. She says not so special, but she's trying to be modest, which anybody that knows Beeman knows that's not in her nature. So it'll change in a minute. Don't worry. Lisa is retiring, much to our disappointment.
At 38.
At 38,
38.
Much to our disappointment.
Almost 38 years. I'll just hang around a little longer.
That's right. But
Just babies.
she's been here for a few years. And
8 years old.
You've definitely seen a lot of things come and go. So we'll start with the easy one. How long have you been with the city?
Well, I've been here 30 years. In September, it was 30 years.
30 years. Started in 1992.
Yeah.
And Micah Seamers was, I think you were
Kindergarten?
I think you were a sophomore on the baseball team.
No, not yet.
No?
No, I think I was in seventh or eighth grade.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So Micah's a year or two younger than Lisa, but and now B, where were you before you came to work here?
I was in Kansas City. I worked for Johnson County, Kansas.
Johnson County, Kansas.
Then-
And what'd you do there?
I was a county planner for the county, and before that, I did. Wait a minute. I think when I came here, I was working for private sector. I was an airport consultant.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And then before that, I was in Johnson County, Kansas. And then before that, where was I then? I think I was in Georgia, in Atlanta for a while. Worked in Cobb County, Georgia.
I didn't know that.
As a county planner. Mm-hmm. And then before that, I was back in Kansas City and worked as a city planner in Grandview, Missouri.
And before that, you were a school teacher.
I was a high school teacher, yes.
So if you all can imagine,
Just rolling through all those careers.
23-year-old Lisa Beeman
Yeah.
as your English and history teacher.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And government.
Government.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, English and government.
So now it is sort of a curious field, and as I've gone about trying to hire your replacement, I realize how rare people are who are in this field.
Yeah.
So how did you get interested in this? The real story, not the one
real
that you want
story?
people to believe.
Got tired of chalk dust?
Yeah. Well, the real story was I was a school teacher, and I actually started when I was 21, so I was teaching high school seniors that were like 18.
They were 3
That
years
was a
younger
real
than you.
joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I decided, I didn't really like teaching. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I decided I liked college. So I'll just go back to college, right? So I thought, I'll go to KU. That's a fun school. And I had a bachelor's. I wanted to get into a master's program. And so I just literally looked up any degree I could get without having to take the GRE, because I didn't want to have to take the graduate record exam to get into a master's program. And you could get into a program at KU called urban planning if you had any background in social sciences. So since I was a social sciences teacher and had a bachelor's of education in Bachelor of Science in Education with an emphasis in social studies. That's what I did. Just kind of fell into it.
And so
It was a lot of fun.
The path of least resistance.
Path of least
got
resistance
you into this
got me
career.
here. Yeah.
And then since then, you've discovered that this career is
Has
full
a
of
lot
resistance.
of resistance, yes. yes.
Sort of a
I should have taken that GRE maybe.
Sort of
Had a
a
whole
big
different
mistake.
career.
yeah.
Might have had to study a little harder. Might have gotten to work a little less hard.
So I love that story that basically you ended up here
Yeah, just-
because you didn't want to take a graduate exam.
Yeah, that's right. Didn't want to do that test.
The true stories are usually less epic, but far
Yeah.
more interesting than what people actually
It turned
say.
out to be a good gig.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Look at how this worked out.
Enjoyed it.
So, what are your of the time you've been here? What are your most proud accomplishments? You've seen a lot come and go.
Seen
here.
a lot. Well, I think this Sooner Park Play Tower is probably my favorite project
That's
because
awesome.
it was in really bad shape, and Ed thought we should just tear it down. So we saved that. That's probably one of my favorite. The front, most all of them have been the parks and recreation stuff. So
Quality of life. I
Yeah,
know it takes
yeah.
it's a big.
Right.
It's heavy in your heart.
Heavy in
Quality of
my
life.
heart is quality of life, yes. And so, like Frontier Pool, the money for that, getting the money for the Sooner Park or Sooner Pool slides,
Yep.
those are all real big. Getting the playground equipment done, and then I think on the private development side, if there's anything, I guess that I think I'm proud that we did is that people will complain about this, but that we've tried to improve the aesthetics of the appearance of the project. So by making sure we have landscaping
Yep.
and streetscaping and sidewalks. So
And landscaping in our parking lots.
landscaping in our
Yep.
parking lots. I know people complain about that, but it does make a big difference when you look at it.
Yes, it
So,
does.
Those are kind of my happiest projects.
Of all the things that you weren't able to do, what are the things you wish you'd been able to do the most?
Well, I wish I'd gotten the Pathfinder Parkway easements quicker.
Still
Over-
working on that.
Well, I think we have them now, almost all of them, to get from Highway 75 to Tri-County Tech.
You wanted to see it built out.
I wanted to see it built out, but we have the easements now. So in future park bonds, we can maybe see
Have-
about getting the money to put that trail in.
Have the ability to expand it.
And I would have liked to see more sidewalks along our arterial roads so people have a safe place to walk. Because I do notice there's a lot of people that walk.
Yeah.
And so
More and more all the time.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit. I wish we'd gotten more of that done, but it'll happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. We've got the mechanisms in place. It always takes time.
It takes
doesn't it?
time.
Time and
Planning takes a
resources.
lot of time.
Yes, it does. 30 years to be exact.
30 years, yeah. And finally start to see things that I worked on, 10 or 20 years ago starting to happen now.
Well,
So
so
you have to have a long life to be in planning.
that's a perfect transition. What's changed the most in Bartlesville in your 30 years?
I think the demographics have. When I moved here, Bartlesville was marketed as a retirement community, and we had a lot of retirees when I moved here. And now I started to see young people have moved back, and that age group from 25 to 44 is starting to rebuild in the community, and they're raising families, and that's always just a good thing.
And there's been a focus on them because,
Yes.
of course, that's especially in today's labor market.
Right.
You need to be able to recruit and retain those people
Right.
in order to be successful as a company or a community.
Right.
So, yeah, there's been a renewed focus on that.
Yeah. I think that's what's changed.
So, as far as the city itself, your job when you got here, what's changed the most?
Well, when
know
I
it's been
got
a
here,
lot.
you could put in a gravel, like if you wanted to build a Walmart back in 1992, you could have put in a gravel parking lot with no trees. So now I think that's changed. Obviously that was a big thing for me, was trying to get, paved parking and get the storm drainage, those types of things that we didn't have any plans for. So that's changed a lot.
Yeah, the built environment has definitely
Yes.
changed. You can
Yeah.
see it as you go into the older
Right.
areas of town and see
Yeah.
the neighborhoods that we've annexed from
Right.
the old county compared to what's being built
Yeah,
today.
when you have big ditch sections, you know
Yep.
that was probably in the county, and Keith hates to maintain those. They're
Yeah.
hard to maintain.
They are
Property
difficult.
owners are hard. It's hard for them to maintain them.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right. So, what's your best advice for the next generation of planners and community development people?
For those people, there has to be. We've got to solve a few problems we have in our community, and homelessness is probably the top one. I'm glad that's someone else's problem now, not mine, because that's not going to be
not easy to
It's not
tackle.
going to be easy to fix.
Nope.
But I would, not necessarily advice for them, but for the community, I think it's really important that young population of people, the 25 to 44s, that they get involved in leadership roles in the community. Because really, I've always told people it only takes 3 votes on the city council to set the direction of this
Sure.
community. And if you want the direction of the community to go somewhere where you want to see it go, then you have to be involved. And whether that's on a board or a commission, or you come to city council and speak up, or you run for council, whatever. I think it's important that young people get involved in the leadership of the community. But it's been a fun 30 years.
So what are you going to tell your replacement, whoever we hire to replace you? What's your last words of advice to them on your way out?
Well, they won't be here when I leave, so I'll probably just call in a lot of complaints.
Get on the other side.
Yeah.
We've actually got a pool going, Lisa, to find out how long after you retire before you start that.
Yeah. My neighbor's parking on the grass. I want this stopped. They're renting up the yard.
So we can't expect to hear from you.
Yes. I may even come speak at council meetings.
Okay, go on
For
in.
citizens to be heard.
So what's next for Lisa Beeman?
I'm going to retire and go visit my granddaughter who lives in Dallas. I'm going to go visit her at least 1 week every month, and
She's pretty
maybe
awesome.
I'll volunteer a little bit at Mary Martha or somewhere. But I'm staying off politics and out of boards and commissions, and I'm going to put her in my garden.
I'm going to say that we should probably start another pool here, gentlemen. Anybody believe that Beeman's going to stay out of things?
I'll stay. I will. Trust me.
We'll see. You heard it here first, Tom.
Done with politics.
Did you go ahead and mark that one?
Oh, yeah, it's
I'm going to
done.
need a recording of that later. Okay. Good.
Thank you very much.
For posterity.
It's been the opportunity of my life.
Well,
Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Yes, Lisa, we will miss you, and you know that.
We have 4 minutes.
We got 4
That's
minutes.
right.
All right. You
Yeah,
did a good
Micah.
job.
Micah, you're
That's
welcome.
good.
He was excited about this.
I didn't think I was gonna get to
speaking.
talk at all.
Yeah,
It
he
would've been
can't
perfectly
believe he
fine.
gets to talk.
I want
So
to make sure you have plenty of time.
that's right. You got plenty now. So, Micah, what do you say? We got a quick project update. What's the most important thing that they need to know in 4
Okay.
minutes or
In
less?
4 minutes. 4 minutes. So we're going to start construction on the Lee Lake and Cooper Dog Park parking lot project here in the next 2 weeks. They should be starting there early November. Get going on that. So essentially, we're going to actually pave a parking lot there at the main lot there at Lee Lake. Now it's not going to be nearly as large as that huge gravel area we've got currently.
But we don't think it's necessary.
Not exactly necessary, correct. So we're gonna pave that, put a new parking lot in there. We're also gonna pave the parking lot at Cooper Dog Park. Again, it'll be a little bit smaller probably than the gravel footprint now, but whenever you actually direct parking
Yeah.
where it should go
When you
and
put
strike
lines
it
on
and
it, it's
put lines
amazing
on
what
it, actually
happens.
can fit a few more cars in there. So we'll do that, and we'll have a connecting road that'll connect from the Lee Lake parking lot to Daniels Fields, the parking lot there as well. So that's part of the project also. You'll see a little bit of dirt work involved with that. We're looking at ways to possibly get a practice, adult-sized practice soccer field there, just kind of east of the existing parking lot now, and some other things. So that'll be starting here in a couple weeks. So you'll notice that disruption if you use that park at all. But we will maintain access at all times. We're fortunate actually right now that we've got, I think, 3 points of access currently into
Yep.
that lot, and so we'll always have something open for people to maintain access. I will note as part of that the steep, narrow access to the east will be going away long term.
The
It'll be-
ramp of death
the
over
ramp
there.
of death. That was the ramp out of the old borrow pit, which is what that pond was. To build
I'm
that
sure it was
embankment.
it was a construction ramp,
That's
would
what
be
it
my
was.
guess. It
That's
was
what
well
it was,
constructed. It survived this whole time.
It's hung in there. It's a good sledding spot, but that'll be gone.
It
So.
is. We'll still leave the embankment
Yeah.
for people to sled on, though.
So that's the big one going to construction right now. Then we're also opening bids.
Against the road.
We're opening bids today at 2 o'clock for the 5th Street rehab and sidewalk. This is a community development block grant, CDBG grant that we've got. And this is one of the bigger grants that we've gotten through that program here in quite some time. We got about $200,000 for that this
Yeah.
time. And with that, there's a lot more requirements, unfortunately.
As usual.
But we do have a good project there. Actually, we're going to do some concrete panel replacement on 5th Street. This is between Santa Fe and Sunset.
Yep.
And then we'll basically fill in the sidewalk all the way from Sunset to Santa Fe as well. So there are some areas that have developed recently as far as the Boys and Girls Club and Mary Martha. Some other areas where they've built in these sidewalk. We're actually going to connect that and make it go on through.
And it is. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic through there.
There is, and that was kind of the focus here. There's a series of nonprofits that are through there that serve the community, and there's a lot of foot traffic, and so we're going to make that connection, get people off the street there. So got that opening today at 2:00. Likely get that awarded that first meeting in November, and then hopefully construction this fall. So we've also got another bid opening on the 31st for the Robinwood Soccer Lighting Project. So this is repurposing lights that we salvaged from Price Fields, and we're going to install lights on the south 3 fields at Robinwood Park, the ones closest to Frank Phillips. And we've also got a bid alternate in there to repurpose 4 of them at the skate park at Lee Lake. So hopefully we can afford both projects.
That's right. We're really hopeful we can pull that one off.
That's the hope.
There's definitely a demand for that at the skate park.
Yep, no doubt. So we had a pre-bid meeting last Friday. We got the bid opening on the 31st, and then again that will be hitting this fall as well, assuming all goes well with funding on that. So working on some designs for the bridges there on Sunset and Tuxedo over the Canyon River. That design is ongoing now. You'll likely see plans wrapping up on that next early summer, late spring, early summer. And lots of design work going on.
Got lots happening as always.
Yep,
so all right.
sure.
Appreciate it, Micah. And Tom, thank you as always for hosting us.
Mm-hmm. All righty, folks, you've been listening to City Matters right here on K1, the one you trust. Stay tuned. We've got our news coming up next from CBS, followed by our local news. And, of course, we'll give you a little update on the weather. Guess what? It's raining. It ought to be a holiday. I'm just saying.
American Heritage Bank, now serving the Osage region of Bartlesville, Pawhuska, and Barnstall.
This is KWON Bartlesville, K227CQ Bartlesville, K236CT Pawhuska.